Hey boys and girls, it is Giacomo. Shalom to my Hebrews. In fact, today is the Sabbath, and I want to apologize first of all to Yahweh for working on the Sabbath, although I won't post this video until after sundown tonight. And also to my Hebrew brothers and sisters, I talk about my background and my faith so much, and I don't want to contradict myself, but I felt like I needed to get this off my chest so that we could have real conversations about sexual harassment, rape, sexual battery, misdemeanor sexual battery, etc., etc. Sexual assault, that is, I should say. So we understand all the parameters, all what actually happened, punish accordingly, but ultimately to be skeptical, at least a pinky nail's worth of skepticism, to make sure we know what we're talking about and that all the allegations are proven to be true after a thorough investigation. That's the law, that's the Constitution. Now, in the era of Me Too and Believe All Women, you know, we've seen some fundamental flaws. Most notably, those standards are not always applied to people that we like. Okay, hashtag Tara Reid and Joe Biden, among the other pictures we've seen of him inappropriately sniffing and touching children. So before I get started, really what this is about is, you'll see in the title of the video, of course, is about that young female Marine sergeant who apparently confronted her accuser in a court of law, and as opposed to him being relieved of the military, getting kicked out of the Marine Corps, that is, he will not suffer a dishonorable discharge. In fact, he's being returned to duty. Let me preface by giving you my background. I served in the Marine Corps from 1987 to 1982, and among my many jobs in the Marine Corps, which we joke, we call it a Semper Gumby, meaning always flexible, I was the assistant legal clerk for the battalion. I've read the UCMJ cover to cover when I was bored. I had nothing else to do. I'm like, oh, nobody's getting charged right now. Boom, I read the UCMJ. This was 1991 when I was stationed in Saudi Arabia. So just after the Gulf War, a year later, I got my honorable discharge from a medical issue that I had with my back and my neck. It still bothers me today. The UCMJ has been revised on occasion. I'm sure it had been revised since the beginning when it was actually written and codified. And I'm sure it's been revised in the 30 some odd years since I left the Marine Corps. I don't know. But if you don't know what the UCMJ is, it's the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It covers all 6 branches of the military right now with the Space Force. And it is sacrosanct. It is the baseline for identifying crimes, outlining judgment procedures, as well as due punishment. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the young lady, a Marine sergeant, I want to disrespect her rank, she outranked me before I got out of the Marine Corps actually, crying about how she confronted her accuser and almost nothing will happen to him. Now, that is not true, number one, as the admin clerk, legal admin clerk that is 100% not true. What he did is going to be on his, what we call the page 15 for a judgment. If he's brought up on charges, good or bad, right or wrong, that will be on his page 15 forever in his service record book, which, Rabbi Trail here, the service record book details your entire military record, especially in the Marine Corps, notably, from the day you enlisted to the day you got your discharge. It can be really thin, like mine was, only did 5 years after all, or fairly thick and require 2 separate folders. It goes with you everywhere. Now, as well, this young man, if he did what he did, and maybe he did, I don't know. You know, I claim ignorance fully. It's also going to affect his pros and cons. It's a military score on a 5-point scale that recommends you for promotion and such. Now, when he goes to his next unit and they look at his low pro and cons, which I think you get them quarterly, if I remember that correctly, they're going to see that he was at one point a bad Marine. He's got a bad page 15 entry. Well, if he's trying to go from sergeant to staff sergeant, or staff sergeant to gunnery sergeant, guess what? He's going to get passed over. He might even get passed over for several years and go, you know what? I've been in for 10, 15 years. I'm still in E5. I may as well leave the Marine Corps. That's going to be the end of it. It's what a lot of people do when they have a bad entry in their service jacket book. So, again, that being the case, let's talk about what actually happened. What is listed under the category of rape? Let's go to the top, number one charge right now. When I read the UCMJ, the punishment for rape at its highest level, the individual will be hanged from the neck, by the neck that is, hanged by the neck until dead, okay? So for a lot of you that don't know the difference, that you swear up and down, left and right, that this Marine raped that female Marine, fuck you. Sorry for the language. But the Marine Corps definitely, the military in the grander scale, definitely takes rape seriously. And at the very least, he would spend life in Fort Leavenworth. That's not something you go pat on the hand, let him go. That's not what happens. So let's downgrade to the next possible charge. You've got sexual assault, okay? We don't know what that is, because it could be as much as him popping her on the ass or grabbing her vagina, her breast. That's sexual assault. That, in the very least, I don't remember what the charge was. It's probably gonna be a little bit higher now that there's a lot more of it going on in the military, and in the macrocosm, the changes that were made in the UCMJ since I left, that in of itself could actually take would actually draw a 10-year charge at Fort Leavenworth, and definitely a reduction in rank. And once he got out of Fort Leavenworth, dishonorable discharge. That's how that works. It is very serious. So what I want to know is, in my mind, going well beyond histrionics and all the hyperventilating that's going on right about now, what was he charged with? What did he admit to? And furthermore, did he get a court-martial? Now, in situations like what normally happens in the military, it's fairly small. Again, I don't know. I'm pleading ignorance. Don't get on me with the bad comments, because guess what? I'm going to report you, and I'm going to ban you from my channel. Let's have a discussion here. I'm going to frame that once again. Again, I don't know what he did, but if it rose to the level of actual sexual assault or battery, you better believe he's going to get a court-martial. Or if he feels like he was wronged, he can actually ask for a court-martial. And the standard for judgment in a court-martial is extremely high, because you generally will have 4 generals on that board reviewing the case, including evidence, including, you have a lawyer, you have a judge advocate general on your side to say yes, no, your honor, etc., etc., and to your plea for you before this panel of judges. I promise you, boys and girls, the military does take this very seriously. And once again, what was the actual charge? The Marine Corps, of course, like any branch of the military, is going to keep this very close to the vest. So we may never know exactly what this Marine did to that young lady. Maybe we will, I don't know. But if you know more information than I do about what he was charged with and what he admitted to, let me know and I'll respond to it in kind. But normally what happens in a lot of sexual harassment issues, and even back in the 80s when I was in, we had sexual harassment problems, and we had sexual harassment charges back then. It was generally what's called non-judicial punishment, which is the first level before you go to a court-martial. You get pulled into the captain or the battalion commander's office, you explain yourself, you don't get a judge, you don't get anyone at your side to actually be your advocate. You explain what actually happened, the evidence is presented, and at that point, your commander makes a determination. And in general, what happens is you get a reduction in rank, you get a fine, you might spend a couple of weeks in the brig, which is, basically like county jail in the military, in the Marine Corps, the Marine Corps and the Navy, same terminology, the brig, and that's the end of it. You go on back to your station, or if what you did was heinous enough, you got reduced in rank and moved on to a different unit, which seems like what's about to happen to this young man. Apparently, the young lady who was crying in her TikTok video said that he's going to get moved on someplace else where he can do it to somebody else again. I doubt that, to be honest with you, because again, his page 15 is going to say flat out, he was brought up on charges or court-martialed for this offense right here. He's not going to do that again, because the next time, I promise you, he's going to get kicked out of the Marine Corps if he's dumb enough to do it again. Okay? But now let me give you an example of what happened to me on 2 separate occasions, because when I was in the Marine Corps, I misspeak, I am a Marine. When I was an active reservist, there were 2 situations in which I could have been brought up on NJP. But now, even before NJP, we got a little thing in the Marine Corps called NCO office hours, where you pretty much straighten out the damn problem without having to go and get the captain or the lieutenant colonel involved. First situation was, I had taken a picture of one of my female counterparts, a sergeant, that was somewhat inappropriate. Let me broaden the situation for you. She was scratching her upper chest at the time, and what she was wearing was not fully buttoned up. So if you look at it from one angle, you could say her breast was exposed, and I promise you, it wasn't. So I did not take a fully inappropriate picture of her, but when she saw the picture, she was uncomfortable with it. She said, you know what? I want that picture from you, Knox. And of course, I was a little kid at the time. I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Come on, whatever. Well, she got angry and said, look, I want that picture. If not, we're going to escalate this. Now, here's what would have happened. If I kept being insistent and immature about giving her that picture that was embarrassing to her, what was going to happen was this. She would go to the direct section head over me with my name and my rank, bring me up on charges, and I would probably have to go see the colonel. Or what would have happened was my E5 directly in charge of me would have brought me aside and said, Knox, give Sergeant so-and-so that picture now, or we're going to bring you up on NJP. Now, granted, I was only a Lance Corporal at the time, and nobody wants to get reduced in rank when you're only an E3, so I was like, you know what? Let me handle the problem. I gave her back the picture, and I apologized, although, again, I was a little kid. I made some other remark. Who knows? Second situation. Again, I was a little kid at the time. We were on a movement going someplace. Helmets and flags. Well, guess what? I left my helmet in someone's house, and I spent the night with them. So somebody had to go 30 miles out of their way, go retrieve my helmet, and bring it back to the unit. Of course, I was embarrassed. And I'm talking to somebody, one of my other Marines, and I said to him, I can't believe how dumb I was. It's a good thing I didn't leave my balls behind, because that'd have been a real problem. Well, guess what? Behind the partition was Captain Malone, Sharon Malone, a female captain. She came around that partition and ripped me a new asshole without so much words. Some of the language, guys, you know me better than this. I don't curse because it's not a thing that I do now that I'm a man of Yahweh. But I'm talking about when I was an active Marine at the time. And most definitely, Captain Malone gave me an ear chewing about watching my language around people. Yeah, boys and girls, that's locker room talk. We know about that with Trump a long time ago before he became our president. And that being the case, of course, I apologized. I said, Captain Malone, I really didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were over there. And that was the end of it. That is sexual harassment, boys and girls. And guess what? It was handled on a base level by just correcting the problem. So once again, I don't know what happened to this young lady. I know she's really, really upset about what happened, but let's talk obvious. There are a lot of people who get very emotional over nothing. I'm not accusing her of doing that, but if he raped her, he should be doing some time or be executed. If he sexually assaulted her, he should be doing some time at Fort Leavenworth, have his stripes taken off his uniform, and get what we call big chicken dinner, a bad conduct discharge or a dishonorable discharge. That will, like his page 15 entry, follow him for the rest of his life or the rest of his life in the Marine Corps. So, are we talking about sexual harassment? Or maybe he said something to her that was not appropriate? No, you give him NJP for that, and that would be the end of it. And again, I want to know what he did. And at that point, if anybody knows any better than I do, if you've read the transcripts of his court-martial, which I doubt they're even available to the public, let's talk about that. Otherwise, let's not take a TikTok video that's gone viral already and gone around the world and twice and make it something that's embarrassing to all of us by making it an assumption. And again, I've got the experience, so let's talk about truth. Let's talk about, do we believe all women? Do we do another Me Too on this thing? Do we broaden the conversation to the military hates women? No, we shouldn't. That's not fair to anybody involved, notably this young lady as well. That's all I got to say about this. My brothers and sisters in the military, my brothers and sisters in the Marine Corps, Semper Fi, Mickey Ficky, call myself that time. But ultimately, and let's talk about this as well before I end the video, I knew, very well a female sergeant. I used to work with her in the entertainment business back in Los Angeles, and she talked about how she'd be, out on out in the field, as we call it, or bivouac in the Army, and guys be leaning up against her, and damn, you kind of hot, Sergeant. That's dumb shit. You knock it off. If you want to get with her, you'd be a man about it. Like Assassin once told me one time, hey, just ask her out. Let that be the end of it. Don't babysit her. Don't do dumb things. Ask her out. If she says no, move on. So, my brothers and sisters in the military, if you like somebody, ask him out. Don't do dumb shit. Sorry, let's get it. Anyway, Semper Fi, I love you. Shalom. Be well.